Now, this one was a video of cops dragging a paraplegic, and it sparked outrage. Now, they dragged this paraplegic out of a car after he stated he was paraplegic and wasn't able to get out of the car, and why. And he even asked for, the higher up for the police officer so that he can speak with that person. Now, this is going to be a trigger warning for all of us, and viewer discretion is advised. And even to see the officer himself is going to be very interesting. Let's take a look.
Clifford Owensby, as seen on this body camera footage released by Dayton, Ohio police, repeatedly explained to officers that he was a paraplegic and had no use of his legs. Owensby was pulled over September 30th in a white Audi in Dayton, Ohio. Police say it was seen leaving a suspected drug house.
You can cooperate and get out of the car, or we'll drag you out of the car.
The police-released video was edited. NBC News cannot confirm what happened before or after. The officers forcibly pull Owensby out of the car by his hair, pinning him to the ground, then dragging him towards the police vehicle. Police say they found more than $22,000 in the car. The narcotics canine dog signaled it had been in close proximity to illegal drugs.
I feel like they need to train their officers to deal with disabled people in a more efficient manner, treat them with respect.
I had to stop past one of my properties to get my cable boxes. I was pulled over by Dayton police. The officer continued to yell and ask me to step out of the vehicle. I asked him, can he call his sergeant? I knew that how aggressive his tone was, that it was possible that I could get hurt if they just pulled me out of the car. He reaches in the car and unbuckles my seatbelt and proceeds to try to snatch me out the car. My first instinct was to grab the steering wheel, so I grabbed the steering wheel, and I believe I closed my eyes because I did not want to see what was about to happen, and I just held onto the steering wheel as tight as I could. I don't see where I did anything wrong in this matter. It was totally humiliation.
But the Dayton Fraternal Order of Police defending the officers, saying they offered to assist Owensby, but sometimes the arrest of non-compliant individuals is not pretty. The mayor of Dayton calling the video very concerning, adding a full investigation is already underway.
So I watched the full video without the edits or whatever, what appeared to be edits, and just really my camera. But just watching everything, he already had said I'm a paraplegic and I'm not able to walk, I'm not able to do anything. So I'm calling my friend who's gonna come help me get out of the car. I don't want y'all touching me, I don't want y'all to help me. The officers did not listen to any of that. He's like, step out of the car. How the hell am I gonna step out the car and I can't walk? I don't want you touching me. I don't want you helping me. So I'm going to call my friend to meet me here that will help me get out of the car. Then you can do whatever it is that you need to do. But you putting your hands on me and dragging me out the car as a paraplegic man, and I'm telling you that I'm paraplegic, and you can see the controls on the steering wheel. That makes no sense at all.
So Bubba, why is it that they could not listen? Forget hearing. Hearing is the sound. Listening is you understand what is being said to you. So why is it that these cops could not listen when this man told them he was a paraplegic? Why is it that they couldn't listen? Because the only thing they saw was a black man. And now, if you listen to the words, he had $20,000, and it was in the canine dogs determining it was in close proximity of a drug. See, all of those are code words to say we have probable cause to do this. Since when is it illegal for somebody to carry around that kind of cash? I remember when I was in Seattle and I sold the first version of my Black History calendar. I drove a 1993 Mercury Tracer, left the windows down because I knew nobody would know that anything was in there. I oftentimes had about $10,000 worth of cash in that car in the back seat. See, so what is illegal about that? The only reason that common sense could not be applied in this situation is because these thug ass cops, all they saw was a black man. Nothing humane
in a nice car.
Nothing humane about what they did. And then for the mayor of Dayton to say this is very concerning, what the hell you mean it's very concerning? So to your point, Bubba, you can look at the steering wheel and see that this man's had controls on this steering wheel, that if he's telling you he's paraplegic, the controls on that steering wheel validate what he's trying to say. But instead of trying to be reasonable, They could not listen because all they saw was a black man. And these thugs acted in such a thuggish way. And I want you to understand what the definition of thug is. You know, that's a person who commits a heinous crime. And to drag a person who is a paraplegic out of the car when they have told you that they do not have use of their legs, that is a violent act. Thus, the appropriate term of thugs is applied, like it or not.
Yes,
absolutely.
And I agree with you 100%. When I saw this video initially, I thought about, wow, I'm seeing this man be dragged out by his dreadlocks, by his locks. And while they dragged him, sorry, this is my job. Look, I'm trying to see, did they get me, am I in trouble for tweeting out this morning? But, and while they dragged him, what I saw was him and his legs separated. They done had that man pulled out of the car by his locks, and then his legs are left behind. And it almost looks like they threw his shoe in the car. As reported by the Huffington, they really wanted to. This is what officers do, black and white, because the black ones believe that they're, you know, a united front. And when they put on that outfit, when they put on that uniform, they too have to walk in the white supremacist way, you know, the systemic way that is built and drenched in white supremacy. Now, you know, what I read, according to the Huffington Post, is that a 3-year-old was also sitting unrestrained in the back seat of the vehicle and was also removed. So don't know if that was his kid or not, but just imagine. It's almost like they do this to I've said this a lot about when I see these officers and what they do to especially young black men. How when these thugs do this to young, and I keep looking at this arm and I'm like, is that a black man pulling him by his hair? It's just very, it's pissing me off. But whether black or white, these police officers literally abuse their power so many times. These thugs, these pigs abuse their power and do not do, and they call this protocol. They call this protocol. If the person is saying they're a paraplegic, right, they are telling you, why are you pulling me out of the car? Why are you asking me to come out of the car? And I can't come out of the car the way that you think because I ain't got no legs. Like, I'm a paraplegic. Hey, like, hello. And you still are telling me if you don't come out the car, I'm going to make you come out of the car. The embarrassment, the belittling, the de-identification and trying to hone in on that, what the weakness is on this person and making them feel small. That is what these officers, we see them in these videos, they constantly do. When we saw that one, the officers, when the man pulled into that gas station, when we saw that on video and he made him get down and the man was saying, hey, I serve for this country. So, you know, and he literally made him get down anyway to belittle him. This is what we see these officers do all the time, abusing their power. And it hurt me to see that man treated and dragged out like yesterday's trash.
Yeah.
Yesterday's trash.
And Queen, also remember this situation. When a brother was at a convenience store and the cop now told him, show me your identification. So the guy reaches for his wallet and the cop shoots him. The thug shoots him saying, well, I thought you was reaching for a gun. Well, fool, what you want? You just told me to show you my identification. I'm reaching for my wallet. You sitting there looking at me, and now the thug shoots him. But see, here's the other piece to me. Now they want to say, and if you listen to the narrative closely, what he was seen coming from a suspected drug house. Okay, so now let's call it probable cause. So you think you got probable cause. Where's your probable logic when the man tells you I'm a paraplegic? And to Bubba's point again, you looking at a steering wheel that shows you that this man is telling you the truth, that he has controls on his steering wheel that would indicate that he is a paraplegic. Where's your common sense? Where's your probable common sense there? You don't have it, and you don't have it again now that you mentioned his hairstyle, Queen. You don't have it because you're seeing a black man. You're seeing locks. And now all you see is now I got license to abuse my power. You thugs, all of them.
And then my thing that irks me to the core about this as well too is that he had over $22,000 stuffed in the floorboard of the car. The cops didn't know that when they pulled him over. They didn't know that when they pulled him over. They didn't know any of that until after he was already out of the car and y'all starting to search and tear up the car just because he was at a suspected drug dealer's house or wherever the hell you say he was. To me, it's just pointless. It really makes no sense at all. And they try to frame that fraternal order of police. Some BS. Straight up BS.
And trust and believe, Bubba, the FOP will be calling you, talking about will you contribute to the fraternal order of police. All I got is one question for them when they call me. Do Black Lives Matter? Click, they hang up. I don't have to hang up. They hang up when I ask that question. And here's an example of why. And don't tell me that it is a few rotten apples. Because to your point, Queen, it looked to me like there were black officers in that video as well. And even if
a couple of them,
even if some of these thugs were not the ones who grabbed this man by his hair, those who stood around and watched, in the words of Dr. King, it comes a time when your silence is criminal. And they're just as rotten as the one who placed hands on this brother and pulled him out of that car. Thugs them all.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And go ahead.
Just to clarify on the story, in the press conference when Clifford was speaking, he did say that the one that initially that one of the cops was white. I think it's the one that initially grabbed him. He didn't specify the other one, but to your points, yeah, they weren't all white. He is a father of 7, and the child in the car was his.
Okay, thank you for that.
Even if you come to the point of the child not being restrained, it is possible that somebody else placed the child in the car and maybe didn't buckle in, and it was just an accident. Now, if that seems like, Carl, you're reaching, okay. There have been cases where parents have left their children in a car and these children died of heat stroke. And the parent argument was that I simply forgot. And they got off of that. But now you want to now say we're going to charge him because a child was unrestrained in the car. But Bubba, to your point, they had none of this. They had none of these facts when they pulled him over, because he came from and they didn't say he came from a suspected drug house. He was driving by what was deemed a drug house. So had no reason to do what they did. And now here comes the narrative. And we have to pay attention to the narrative in which they use, because this will become their justification to say there was nothing wrong about what happened to Brother Clifford.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I think in this particular moment, I don't even know what's going to come of this because of what the cops didn't know when they pulled him over, right? They didn't know that he had that amount of money in the vehicle. They didn't know that he had a child that was possibly unrestrained in the back seat, 3 years old. They didn't know that he was a paraplegic. All they saw was a black person with that hairstyle driving the car, to your point, Dr. Mack. Yep. And so now what they do is they challenge him. All he asked was, hey, could I speak to the detective, the higher up? I need to speak to someone over you because you're not listening to me. And they thought, oh, this ER is trying to challenge me? Oh, no. I'm a police officer. Okay, Blue Lives Matter, thin blue line around here. You don't speak to us in no kind of way. So now I'm going to embarrass you and I'm going to belittle you. And that's why I think that Clifford Owensby, went over to the NAACP. And I'm glad that they saw it like that, because they know what he would be viewed as in the media. Those points that I just told you were highlighted in the article that I read, because that's what they want us to see. So in the media, they want us to view him as a thug instead of what we saw on video. What we saw on video were these cops not acting like the good cops, not having the proper conversations, not going by what we know to be protocol, right? We caught them doing what we know that they do all the time, but now it's on video. And even though we see it, the narrative that they want to put out there about this man, Clifford Owensby, is that he's a thug. He's possibly a drug dealer. Mm-hmm. And he's over here putting his child's life in danger. Let's focus on that.
And Sister Queen, what would be very interesting if we could do this is to now go back and show the video of the ex-Port Authority commissioner who was on the side of the highway absolutely berating the highway patrol about the fact that they pulled over her child who went to an Ivy League school along with some of her classmates. I mean, absolutely berating this woman, knowing that all you had to do was just imagine that this woman was a black woman speaking to these cops the way that they were. Oh, they were so mannerable. They let her just go on and go on and go on. And now here's a man in a very calm, demeaning, a very calm way explaining to you that I'm a paraplegic. And this was the result. Because I guarantee you they didn't lay not one hand on that white woman when she was berating her. And if you pull that video up and listen to the audio of it, of how demeaning she was to these cops, they
I remember
sat
that.
there very calmly. And now here's this brother sitting there very calmly. And look at the actions. I'll say it again. They're not cops, they're thugs. Those who pulled him out and those who stood by and allowed it to happen. Thugs.
Yeah.
Right. And I was going to let y'all know he was ultimately cited in municipal court only for traffic citations, failure to restrain a child in the back seat, and for tinted glass. Yeah, so that lets y'all know they were just trying to find something to throw on him.
Oh, no doubt, because the fact of the matter is, no matter how much cash he had in his car, there's nothing illegal about the fact that he had cash in his car like that. But again, they want to paint the narrative coming from what we suspected to be a drug house. He's got a bunch of cash in his car. Oh, and the K9 dogs, they sniffed it out as though it was in close, look at the language. The money was in close proximity of drugs. Out of here.
Right.
So
I've had money close to drugs before. I mean, we've all had money that's been close to drugs.
like listen.
Right.
Listen. I don't know. Probably all the money that we touch has been close to something. Somebody has utilized it to do a lot of things. Okay.